Now looking at touchdowns by Baker Mayfield as far as passing TDs. He is tied for fourth right now with Vinny Testaverde with 77. He needs one more. He'll be in fourth all by himself. Welcome to Justice Stats NFL, the show that covers the NFL statistical leaders from the all-time greats to the current players leading the NFL. I'm Ernie Jennings, your host, and in this podcast, we'll be looking at the pregame for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Seattle Seahawks. So let's get right into it. This game is in Seattle at the Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington. Seattle Seahawks are 3-1. So let's take a look at the top 10 to watch for in this game. Number one is the coach for Seattle, Mike Macdonald. Right now, he's seventh in victories for the Seattle Seahawks. They only had 9 coaches, to be honest. He's seventh with 13 victories. One more, he ties Tom Flores with 14 for 6. So that'll be his next one up. And then he'll be waiting a while to get to the next guy, a couple years probably. All right, another top 10. This is Kenneth Walker III in rushing TDs. Right now he is 6th all-time in Seattle Seahawks history in rushing TDs with 27 rushing TDs. Sherman Smith, who played in the 70s and 80s, has 28. Kenneth Walker has 27, so he needs one to tie to move into a tie for 5th. 2 will put him in 5th place all by himself. So Kenneth Walker's the guy to watch. Now on defense, looking at tackles for loss, Darren Reed right now is tied for 9th in tackles for loss. To break the tie, he just needs one tackle for loss to be in 9th all by himself. Needs 4 to get up to 8, so that'll be a couple games. But one, he'll be in 9th all by himself. I put him in there for that because he's also in the sack department ready to be mentioned. Right now, he's trying to push himself into the top 10, and it's against the same guy, Frank Clark, who we're referring to. Frank Clark played from 2015 to 2023. But Darren Reed is in 11th with half a sack behind Frank Clark. Reed has 34.5 sacks. Frank Clark has 35. So one sack will bump Frank Clark out of the top 10 and put Darren Reed there. Half a sack, they'll be tied for 10th. So really it's a matter of time, and then he'll be pushing up to several people. He'll be pushing closer and closer to move up the rankings there. So Jared Reed's a guy on defense to watch for the Seattle Seahawks. Now looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are also 3-1. And we're looking at the coach again here. Todd Bowles is the 5th ranked coach in Tampa Bay Buccaneers history. As far as victories go, he has 30. One more, he ties Bruce Arians, who actually was the coach right before him. Bruce Arians has 31 victories. So one more victory, and he ties him for 4th place as Tampa Bay Buccaneers winningest coach. Now looking at touchdowns by Baker Mayfield as far as passing TDs. He is tied for 4th right now with Vinny Testaverde with 77. He needs one more. He'll be in 4th all by himself. If he happened to get 3 in this game, he'd tie Josh Freeman for 3rd all time with 80. So that's his next target. And then Tom Brady and Jameis Winston will be the next 2, not in that order. All right, one more, tackles for loss. This is a similar thing as we just talked about with Reed, but this time it's Vita Vea. He has 43 tackles for loss. He's tied for 9th. So he just needs one tackle for loss to move into 9th all by himself. So we'll be watching that. And then the same thing, as I was saying, as far as the sack department goes. Right now, he's tied for 10th. Actually, he's tied for 11th. I mean, he's in 11th. Let me get that straight. Yeah, he's in 11th with 32.5 sacks. He needs a half a sack to catch Brad Culpepper, who played in the 90s, who's in 10th with 33. He's got 32.5. So half a sack, he gets to 10th. Actually, he'll also get to 9th because Jason Pierre-Paul has 33 as well as Brad Culpepper. So he can catch two people. One sack, he bumps two people down the list, and he moves into 9th all by himself. Gets two sacks, he jumps all the way up to a tie for 8th. So we'll see. So two defensive players to watch. That's a look at our top 10s for this game for you to watch in the game. All right. Now looking at the game itself, this is a tough game. And unfortunately for Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mike Evans still out. Now Bucking Irving with foot and shoulder injuries is going to be out as well. So they're losing two of their key players in this game. But looking at the numbers, this game is pretty close. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are averaging 24 points a game. Seahawks are averaging 28. Somewhat close there. When it comes to turnover differential, they're pretty much the same. +1 for the Seahawks, 0 for Buccaneers. So right there together. Now, one category where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers definitely need to improve, and that's in the penalty category. They're 19th in the NFL with 31 penalties, while Seahawks are second with only 20. Makes a big difference in a game if you're being penalized 31 times. I mean, that's 8 penalties a game just about. It's just too many. All right, let's look at the matchup comparison of the offenses against the defenses. This is really a close two. Buccaneers, as far as passing efficiency, are 14th. The Seahawks defense is 15th. Now, where the Seahawks really excel is on their rushing defense, which is number 1 in the NFL. The rushing efficiency for the Buccaneers is 18th, and that's going to take a hit because Bucking Irving is out. It's going to be up to White to be the main running back here. So that could take a hit. Now, as far as the Seattle offense, they're 9th in passing efficiency versus the Buccaneers number 12. But on a flip, as far as rushing efficiency, they're 31st right now against the Buccaneers defense, which is 7th. So a definite advantage for both of the defenses when it comes to the running game. So we'll have to see how that goes in this game. It looks like it could be more of the passing game takes the cake here. All right, let's see who we think we want to see win this game, or who we think will win. It's really tough to say. Baker Mayfield has been excellent. He's got 9. These quarterbacks are very similar in some ways. Baker Mayfield has 904 passing yards. Sam Darnold has 905. Very close. Touchdowns for Baker Mayfield is 8, interceptions 1, while Sam Darnold has 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. A couple areas where Sam Darnold is better is in yards per attempt. He's at 9.1. That is pretty deep, while Baker Mayfield's at 6.5. And then also Baker Mayfield's completion percentage is way down. It's under 60%, while Sam Darnold's is sitting at 70. So definite advantage there as far as that goes, but very close. One of the things that makes this difficult to pick is when you look at this game is in Seattle, so that's a definite advantage for the Seattle Seahawks. When you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers schedule, they've played some tough games. The Eagles and the Bills were the primary two. They did play the Jets, Texans, and Falcons, so I guess that's not as true as I thought. Texans have had a tough defense, so that's the tough part about playing them. But they lost against the Bills in a close game, and they lost against the Eagles in a very close game. They beat, in fact, every game they've had. Largest loss or victory margin was 6 points when they lost to the Eagles. Otherwise, they've won games by 2, 1, and 3. So this team has been very close to the vest as far as coming right down to the wire to win or lose a game. Now, the Seahawks have been super tough as well. They've won 3 in a row after coming out of the gate losing their first game. Actually, when I say that Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost to the Bills, they lost to the Bills in preseason, so disregard that. Really doesn't count. But yeah, the Seahawks lost to the 49ers incredibly. See, the 49ers have won games that are just amazing. They lost 17-13, but after that, they have been basically beating teams pretty handily. They beat the Cardinals, though, close game, 23-20. That was close, but they beat the Saints pretty badly, and they beat the Steelers pretty bad as well. So who do I think is going to win this game? I'm going to give it to Seattle Seahawks. I think their defense will step up here because Mike Evans is out, Bucky Irving's out, and Tampa Bay has to travel almost as far as you can possibly travel unless you were the Miami Dolphins to go from Tampa to Seattle, play there in this game. I'm going to give this win to the Seattle Seahawks. All right, that is a wrap for this episode. You can find me on YouTube at Just the Stats NFL, also on podcasting through Apple, Spotify, or podcast app. Also, you can text me at justthestatnfl@gmail.com. All right, appreciate you listening. Please subscribe and like. That's helpful as I try to grow this podcast. And as you'll notice, I keep tinkering with it, but sooner or later I'll get what I like exactly. All right, that is a wrap for this episode. I'm on to my next pregame. I'm out.